Hey everybody, and welcome to another Bree Book Reviews video. So I'm gonna be completely honest, I did not read that many books in the month of March. I only finished 3. I was actually lucky I finished that third one. It was like the last day of the month or something like that. I read 1 Kindle book, 1 physical book, and I listened to 1 audiobook. And so let's just get right into it, shall we? The first book that I finished in the month of March was Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This is the first book in the Red Rising trilogy, which is an adult sci-fi. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. This is about a character named Darrow who is part of the lowest caste in society. They're called Reds. He lives on Mars, and basically the Reds are the lowest caste, that is the miners essentially. So they have been told that their job is to make Mars livable for everybody else, so they are in the depths of the underground digging into the earth to try to make Mars more livable for everyone else. But what Darrow discovers is that it's been a lie that has been told to the Reds his entire life and then some. And when he discovers the truth, he joins this group of people who are kind of out to change society and change the world. So he joins this group to take justice into their own hands, and he ends up in this tournament that's kind of like a gladiator style tournament. I've heard Red Rising being compared to Hunger Games in space, which I could see a little bit. I mean, it is a gladiator style like testing that he enters, in which like all of the students are pitted against each other, and the last one they basically had to kill each other, and the last one standing wins. So I could see that. The only thing is, I don't see the whole like space thing. There were, I mean, obviously it was first set on Mars, and then he like travels to enter this tournament, but I actually didn't get a whole lot of space feeling from this, because the majority of the book took place in the like man-made tournament area. I am hoping, but pretty positive, that the majority of the other books are going to be more set in outer space, which is what I want to see more of, because I don't read a whole lot of sci-fi. And I think that's kind of why I was still drawn into reading this book, because it didn't have as many sci-fi aspects. I always thought that I was a sci-fi reader, but I'm really not. I rarely pick up a sci-fi book. So I really enjoyed it, hoping to see Darrow kick some major ass in the next few books. Yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. I will be continuing the series. I haven't actually started Golden Sun yet, because I haven't purchased it yet, but I will. And yeah, look forward to that. The second book that I read in the month of March was my physical book, and that is Akata Witch by Nnedi Okorafor. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely fell in love with the magical system in this world. It's just amazing. If you are a Harry Potter or a Percy Jackson fan, you are going to absolutely fall in love with this story. It has that like same similar vibe. It is about a girl named Sunny. She is half American, half Nigerian, and her family moves back to Nigeria, and I think it's set like 2 to 3 years after she's moved back. And Sunny is a little bit unique because she is albino, so she is teased and bullied a lot for her pale skin. She gets beat up after school, and just when she's at her lowest point, she starts hanging out with this boy from school named Orlu, who introduces her to a friend of his named Chi-Chi, and the 3 of them become like the best of friends, and they start hanging out. Sunny actually has a premonition about the end of the world, and with that she finds out she has magical abilities, discovers this whole hidden world of magical people in Nigeria. So unlike in traditional fantasies where people are called magicians, in this world people with magical abilities are called leopard people, and then people without magical abilities are called lambs. So she joins the leopard people. She starts going to school essentially to learn more about her magical abilities. There's even this like hidden part of the village called Leopard Knocks that you have to like cross this mysterious magical bridge a specific way just to get over there, and it's just so fantastical. And the way that she comes up with these like unique magical things that are also kind of woven with Nigerian mythology is just amazing, and I cannot wait to discover what happens in the second book. So along with all of that, like her discovering that she has magical abilities, there is this mysterious leopard person called Black Hat Otokoto going around and killing small children. So, and of course, somehow her and her friends get entangled in that mystery and finding out who he is, where he's hiding, where all the children are disappearing to. And it has something to do with Sunny's family history, which is what makes this book so much more unique and interesting to me. And I cannot wait to see what happens next, because oh my gosh, did this book end with me wanting to know more about Sunny and her family's past, and I cannot wait to read the sequel. It's out. It's called Akata Warrior, and I already have it in my Amazon cart. I just have to pay for it and wait for it to come, and I cannot wait. I will be reading this month. It is on my TBR list for sure. I highly recommend it, and you guys should definitely check it out. Again, I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Then the last and final book I read, I listened to on audio, but I ended up buying the physical copy because I just loved it that much, and I needed my own copy of this book, and that of course is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. And like I said, I listened to this on audiobook, and as soon as I finished the audiobook, I was like, I need this physical book in my life. Even though I'm trying not to buy too many physical books right now, this is just one of those that I absolutely, without a doubt, had to have on my shelf. I do plan on actually rereading this very soon, because I feel like I rushed too quickly through the audiobook because I was just loving it so much. I might have missed out on a few like small details. I ended up giving this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. The only reason that this has like a 0.5 off from being a complete 5 out of 5, there are actually 2 reasons. My biggest reason, which is why I want to reread the physical copy of this, is the audiobook. It had nothing to do with like the actual story, but the audiobook I struggled with, not because of who narrated it. I can't remember her name. The narrator was amazing, and I absolutely loved listening to it because she gave all of the characters accents. The only problem that I had with her narration was that she didn't exactly give each character different types of voices, so every character sounded like the same person, and so it was really hard if I wasn't paying attention to whether it was a new chapter or not who was speaking. So it really bugged me out that I had to like really pay attention, and every character sounded like the same exact person talking. So that was one reason. And then the other reason is I absolutely loved all of these characters. Don't get me wrong, I loved all of them. But I do feel like there was sort of an insta-love in this book, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. So I'm okay with the coupling that ended up happening in here. If it were to have happened like on a slower pace, like maybe they were like interested, but maybe nothing actually happens till the second book. But because like that insta love happened so quickly, I kind of was a little bit irritated about that. But everything else about this book is so amazing. I loved it so much. This is the first book in the Legacy of Orisha book series trilogy. Is this supposed to be a trilogy? I think this is going to end up being a trilogy. So this is set in a world where a ruthless king decided that he didn't want magic anymore in the world, and so he killed anybody who had any magical latent abilities. And this takes place years later about the children of the people that were killed. The main perspective in this book is of Zaylee. She is the daughter of one of these magical people who her mother was called a Reaper, which is like a type of magical person. Her and her brother Zane live in this village called Illarine, and she's just trying to, make her way by without being seen, just survive basically. And under weird circumstances, she ends up meeting the princess of the ruthless king called Amari, and she is another perspective in the book. And then the third perspective is Amari's brother, the prince, Inan. Amari and Zaylee and Zane go on this journey to bring magic back to the world, and Prince Inan is, on the other hand, the one that's chasing them and trying to stop them and bring Amari back. This was such an amazing book, and the world building and the magical system is so like fleshed out and so unique, and I've just never read anything like this before. Not to mention, can we look at this gorgeous, gorgeous cover? And I didn't even know until, there's also a map on the inside, and I didn't even know that the inside cover had something on it as well, but that is just gorgeous. And this is another reason why I had to just immediately go and pick up my own copy. So I really, really enjoyed each character's perspective. I'm kind of interested to see if the next book will have more of Zane's perspective, because he wasn't a POV, but he was such a prevalent character in this story. There's another character in here that I'm like, they haven't really like specified that he's gonna even be a main character in the next book, but you know, he's kind of being a little flirtatious with Zaylee, so we'll see. We'll see. All right, I'm ranting. Would you guys like to see a full review of this? Please let me know, because I would love to talk more about this book, or even a full review of this. I was actually thinking maybe I should wait till I read Akata Warrior first, and then I would do a full review of both books for this later. But let me know if you want to me to do just a separate one on this one, or if you mind waiting. I know this book is so overhyped right now, but it has like good reason for being overhyped, and I love it so much. So that was all the books that I read in the month of March. Stay tuned for my April TBR, and I will see you guys next time.